And we do welcome our dear friend and Coptic minister Lori France, a retired Mott Community College instructor in Flint, Michigan, having spent 20 years in the Michigan school system as a high school teacher and community college instructor. She studied metaphysics since the mid-1980s and, as just previously mentioned, also is a Coptic minister and became one in 2007. And I'm proud to say in recent months, Lori has been appointed as our newest member of the Coptic Fellowship Board of Directors. She's a welcome addition to our group. She facilitates daily study groups via email on A Course in Miracles and continues to study non-dualism and the meaning of oneness from many traditions. Today, her message, Creating Heaven on Earth, and we look forward to that in just a bit with Lori.
So, creating heaven on earth. And your first question might be, what does creating heaven on earth mean anyway? So let's take a look at that first. Perhaps the simple answer is that when we, all of us, as collective humanity, create a harmonious balance of peace and love towards each other, rather than a war-torn, fear-based world with hunger and greed and disease, devastation. So creating peace, a peaceful world based on love and not fear. That would be heaven on earth. And the second question you might have is, so what does that have to do with me? Do I have a role to play in that? And a wonderful master, Hamid Bey, has a simple answer to that for you. In his lesson 56, Individual Cultivation, he advises us to do the following. When you arise in the morning, resolve to keep a harmonious attitude of mind during the entire day. Thus, you will be doing your bit toward creating heaven on earth. So, wow, that seems pretty simple, right? Each one of us has a role in creating heaven on earth, and it's a very important role. And it is our resolve to keep a harmonious attitude of mind during the entire day, every day, in every circumstance, even if you're voting. So I would like to add some more words of wisdom from a very powerful channeled work that some of you may be familiar with, and it's called The Way of Mastery. I know some of you are familiar with this. So here's a little bit here. The world that you experience, which is the world that you have made in conjunction with others, in any given moment, offers to you and me the opportunity to choose to impregnate it with love or to allow it to reflect to you your fearful thoughts. You are not limited at any time, so in you, all power under heaven and earth is given. So all power. This power, this choice is ours to make. And then it says, therefore, begin to look on each situation, each moment or minute of your life as a very separate scene in a movie. It has a certain set, it's certain characters, it has a beginning, and it has an end. Although you are eternal, the things of time are not. And all things birthed in time will end in time. Therefore, will you use this moment, birthed in time, to bring what is eternal to it? Or will you continue to believe that yet within you there is no possible power to choose love over fear. Look around you. What do your eyes show you? Would you bless it or curse it? You are like one who carries a magic wand filled with such power that you could merely wave it upon the face of this earth and extend the kingdom of heaven to every heart and every mind. So what then can prevent the expression of such power? Only the fear you have made to replace the reality of love. So in your movie, in the life that you and me and everyone are creating, all of us have the power to make each step on our journey to be filled with love, with Christ consciousness, or to be filled with fear. The choice is always ours, yours and mine, and everyone's to make. So that's pretty powerful. The choice is ours to create heaven on earth or to create hell on earth. But how does that happen? And why is my consciousness so important for the collective souls on earth? So a wonderful insight into this question is given in a book by Owen Waters called The Shift, The Revolution in Human Consciousness. And some of you may be familiar with this one. Owen does an excellent job of explaining how collective consciousness works in his book. And one of the examples he uses is referred to as the 100th monkey effect. And some of you may have heard of this before. The scientific proof of how this works is based on a study done in the 1950s by a group of scientists who are called primatologists. And they were studying monkeys in the wild on islands in Japan. Now, the scientists provided the monkeys with sweet potatoes that they dropped in the sand on the islands. The monkeys liked the sweet potatoes, but they didn't enjoy that they were covered in sand. Now, on the island of Koshima, a young female monkey found that she could wash the potato in a nearby stream. Then she taught her fellow younger monkeys to do the same. Then here is the story from the book, The 100th Monkey Effect by Ken Keyes. Between 1952 and 1958, all the young monkeys learned to wash the sandy sweet potatoes to make them more palatable. Only the adults who imitated their children learned this social improvement. Other adults kept eating the dirty sweet potatoes. Then something startling took place. In the autumn of 1958, a certain number of Kashima monkeys were washing sweet potatoes. And let's just suppose that when the sun rose on that morning, there were 99 monkeys on Kashima Island who had learned to wash their sweet potatoes. Let's further suppose that later that morning, the 100th monkey learned to wash the potatoes. Then it happened. By that evening, almost everyone in the tribe were washing the sweet potatoes before eating them. The added energy of this 100th monkey somehow created an ideological breakthrough. And then the real effect of this became apparent when the scientists observed that monkeys on the other islands, that they were also washing their sweet potatoes at the same time. So in the book it says, thus when a certain critical number achieves an awareness, this new awareness may be communicated from mind to mind. And of course, It's being communicated from mind to mind anyway, but this is the beginning of a revolution, the ultimate transformation. And herein lies our power to create heaven on earth. As each of us becomes more aware of our true identity as part of Source, of love, of all that is, then we help each other and everyone else on the planet to get to that awareness. And to add some more wisdom from Hamid Bey, in his lesson 2, Prophetic Cycles of Human Life and the World, he says, if we believe that we do the things we do because we cannot help ourselves, we are wasting our time. If instead we believe that we do things because we know what we do, then it is our duty to cooperate one with the other and learn a little more about our capabilities so that when we may use our reason individually and collectively for a good cause, not only for ourselves, but for the good of humanity. Also, we are units that pulsate in the decision of world events. And even though it seems impossible to change the destiny of a nation, yet every individual through unity can do so. Just as many spokes can make a wheel which will carry the load and do the work that it is supposed to do. We can be the masters of our bodies and of our souls. God has given us the power to create an idea, but we must learn to use it the right way, individually and collectively. So there is our power, both individually and collectively. And Owen Waters explains this further in his book, where he explains the research that was done by Dr. David Hawkins, who developed the Hawkins scale of consciousness. And I thought the scope of this is really mind-blowing. In a section called Being as Well as Doing, he tells us, your state of being does make a difference. It actually affects the mass consciousness of the world. The research behind the Hawkins scale of consciousness reveals the enormous power of just being, especially when you raise your consciousness in order to be the best that you can be. You can support literally millions of people on planet Earth just by virtue of who you are, by being a person conscious at one of the higher levels. And to reach 500 on the Hawkins scale of consciousness, a person needs to be spiritually conscious. At this level, unconditional love and unconditional forgiveness becomes alive and well in their reality. Here, one person counterbalances 750,000 people who are below the 200 level. When a person has practiced meditation long and diligently enough to attain bliss consciousness at the 600 level, they are at that moment counterbalancing 10 million people below the 200 level. Wow. The individual is like a radio station. You transmit whatever program you are playing internally. And while you are here on Earth, you are contributing who you are, your thoughts, your dreams, and your passion for life into the atmosphere of a global mind that is hungry for more than anything else, spiritual light. And I think that says it all. To operate in spiritual service to the world, we must first become aware and live our lives from the life energy of love and forgiveness. And this forgiveness is what A Course in Miracles, again, one of my favorites, would define as true forgiveness and not ego forgiveness. Ego forgiveness is the mind saying to itself, you out there, you have done me wrong, but I'm much better than you are. So I forgive you your terrible behavior. That's not true forgiveness. True forgiveness is the simple recognition that everyone, every seeming separate body on this planet is all part of the oneness. We are all God's children, and we are all part of love. And a little bit more wisdom here from someone who posted a comment online about ACAM, and she said, heaven isn't a location. It's a state of consciousness. When you practice the lessons of A Course in Miracles, your consciousness changes. And you may be in the same life, but it is experienced completely differently. This is the shift from hell to heaven. When enough people here on earth want peace instead of conflict and are more focused on love than anything else, then heaven on earth will be realized. And that's very beautiful and very profound. And I'd like to add just a little bit more wisdom from Owen Waters from The Shift, where he tells us unconditional holistic love is the answer to all of life's challenges. We are here on earth to learn how to love ourselves and others, and to accept ourselves and others completely without judgment. And he explains the shift as a pivotal turning point in the consciousness of the entire world, the entire planet, and that it is happening today, right now. And he adds that it is not a temporary byproduct of the baby boom generation or of any other generation in modern society. It is not a passing fad, and it is not going away. The shift is a cycle of a cosmic cycle, which is unfolding and slowly but steadily increasing the frequency of all consciousness upon the planet. The shift is, to put it simply, the most wonderful transformation in recorded history. This is where humanity gets to build, literally, heaven on earth. So, how about if we all get out our magic wand and our magic wand of unconditional love and wave it over everyone around us, everyone on the planet, and let's transform together. And to wrap this up, I thought you might enjoy a wonderful song from the 70s. And I'm sure you're all familiar with this, but it's a great reminder about how we all participate in this transformation together. So here we're going to take a short break from our thinking mind and listen to this wonderful song, sending out a positive vibration to all of us. And so I hope you're all ready to rise up in the morning with your harmonious attitude of love towards everyone. And I don't know, if anyone has anything you'd like to add to that, that would be great. Thanks.
It's fabulous. I just put me in a wonderful state of being.
It was absolutely wonderful. It was just phenomenal. Truly life-changing, as a matter of fact.
If we could just hold that thought, huh?
And
All day long.
I think we're impacted through our heart, too.
Well, where's my video
Absolutely
here?
wonderful. Thank you.
Lori, I have a question for you. The Hawkins scale you talked about,
Mhm.
Is there any measured documentation that shows the results of thought projection? And
There might be. I think you'd have to look that up because the only thing I read about it is what I found in the book, in Owen Waters' book. But Dr. David Hawkins has written a number of books, and I think that information is no doubt it's out there. Yeah. I don't know. Have you heard of him before?
no, I haven't. Owen Waters, I have, but Hawkins, I think I've heard that in presentations before, his name, but I didn't realize what he related to.
Yeah. All right. Just check him out. Check him out online. See what you find out.
I have, because I looked up that vibratory scale and found out who he was. And Wayne Dyer quotes him as well. So if anybody has followed any of his work.
Mhm.
And I've always thought that was true, that the best way to serve humanity is to do your own work.
Yes.
So the higher your thoughts and the higher you vibrate, the more you affect that collective consciousness. And I've the 100th monkey, that's just one of my favorites.
I don't know how to get back.
Mhm. It's the idea that, who am I sitting here at home? How do I affect the rest of the world? And you don't, if you're guided to, go ahead, but you don't have to go out and really do anything, out in the world. It's what you're doing in your consciousness.
Yes, it's being, not doing.
There's been numerous real life examples when they've had numerous people praying and meditation together, how miraculous things have happened on the planet. And there was actually probably a potential war between Russia and the United States back about 20 years ago now, 15 years ago. That many people came together, and all of a sudden Russia did an about face, and China actually aligned more with the UN at that time to avert a major fallout between Russia and us, and probably China. So yeah, there's power. Jesus said, when there are more than two gathered in my name, things happen in miraculous ways. So, yep.
Lynn McTaggart has quite a few documented studies on praying for peace. Lynn, she's the one that does Power of Eight.
Yes, that's very powerful. I was reading about that recently. Yeah, 8 people gathered together can make it, just collectively make a huge difference.
Right, and they've gone and done more bigger studies. She documents, and she's very scientific. And so yes, again, bringing peace into areas with that focused prayer.
So we can all help humanity just by being in a harmonious attitude of love, forgiveness, no judgment.
Right. And you don't need to be any place particularly either.
Right.
Physical location. I know I'm going to, with Judy Merrills tomorrow to Fountain Street Church for a prayer vigil for the elections. And May Peace Prevail on Earth International had, that's people from around the world praying for the US and our elections. And because we're all in this together. I have a thing here that I wrote down from Mary Reed suggesting that what we do when we wake up in the morning is, what is it that love seeks to do in this day? What is the will of love in this day? The will of love is also my will. And so it is. So to ask yourself that question and be open for guidance in that way.
Okay.
Way of Mastery has some excellent exercises in that regard also about helping something. I'm not going to go into details, but there's a 30-day exercise in it, which has to do with first getting into a being meditative state. I accept the love of God and be part of that. And then something might pop in your mind that needs a blessing. And then you bless that and send it love and happiness and whatever it needs. So it's a fun. I'm in the middle of doing that right now. Exercise, yeah. And Teresa and David, I think you've done Way of Mastery, right?
Thoroughly enjoying it. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that part about forgiveness, or my judgment of what I see in you is also in me, or I wouldn't see it. I mean, it's so profound and yet so easy.
It's interesting.
Just trying to stay out of judgment.
Mm.
Way of Mastery is helping.
Thanks.
What many people don't understand in mainstream Bible, if you will, mainstream Christianity, they lost sight of how Jesus, Yeshua, was very emphatic on doing the inner work. And over the years, Christianity has gotten away from that and, seen it more as an aversion to do the inner work. And it wants, our ego wants everybody else to do something different. But yeah, he was very emphatic, and many masters of many traditions have been that way. That yes, love thyself, heal thyself first, and leave the rest to everybody else, if you will. But he was very emphatic on doing that inner work.
David, do you think they'll ever find writings of Jesus? He was a very intelligent, educated man.
Oh,
Do you mean something that he wrote personally?
Yes.
I don't know that there is anything, but there's a whole lot of gospels that were tossed out by the church back in the 400s.
Yeah.
Of hundreds of gospels actually that were brought.
The Gospel of Thomas, and that was one of the lost gospels, and I don't quote me verbatim, but the Gospel of Thomas is more about verses. So it was one of the verses in the 70s, 77 or something, where Jesus said, "Now that which you go into will free you. That which you resist will destroy you." And that was one of his powerful statements of doing the inner work. Yeah.
Yeah, the Gospel of Thomas was a number of sayings of Jesus. So I think, Rose, that might be what you want to look into. They were all just sayings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the map of consciousness in those lower levels, it's about victim energy and it's about fighter energy. So it's about the bottom levels are either I hate myself or I hate you. And once you get to that level of courage and more acceptance, now you're taking responsibility for how you're showing up. Rather than blaming yourself too much or blaming someone else, you're taking more responsibility for how you're showing up. And that's a major shift in the vibrations and the energy, is once a person can begin to do that, is take that responsibility for the self.
So my granddaughter made her confirmation Sunday down at the cathedral, and it was the Bishop of the Grand Rapids Diocese sort of oversaw the whole thing and gave the homily. And one of the things that he said, and I don't like that whole hierarchy of systems thing, but one of the things that he said is that you are loved. You're loved by God, you're loved by the church, you're loved by us, you are loved. And what does it mean to love? And he said it means that you would wish everyone what is for their best. And even if it's someone you don't like, you would never wish them harm, you wish them their best. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. I like that he's saying that, because it's like getting out, even if, I mean, we all have people that we feel we meet people and we either instantly feel comfortable or we instantly feel yeah, you know, and it's wishing everybody, no matter what, their highest and best, that you would wish no harm on anyone. I thought that was interesting, because I left that faith a long time ago. And so I enjoy it when I actually grab something out of it that to me is, you know.
It helps kind of understand when you say, well, this person's a child of God also.
Mhm.
That kind of neutralizes, you know, wow, yes. Why am I having this feeling? Because this is a child of God. So
If we go with the mirror thing, they're actually us. So what is it that if we're uncomfortable with them, what are we comfortable with in ourselves?
Lori, what was Owen Waters' the title of his book? I missed that part when I was rebooting my computer.
I'm sorry, ask me again, Michael.
Owen Waters' title of his book. What was?
Oh, it's the shift, the revolution in human consciousness. The shift.
Thank you.
Mhm.
loved it tonight. Loved it.
It was phenomenal. Standing ovation.
Thank you, Lori.